All right, welcome back to another episode of the Red Pill Cartel. My guest today is pretty fucking cool. I don't know if you've seen her on Instagram or anything, but Erin, please tell the audience what you do and where they can find you before we start get going.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have a couple of Instagrams. I'm one third of a three-person team called Patriot Paranormal, and we are just paranormal investigators, very patriotic, hence our name. and and we just go around like chasing the dead because we prefer them over the living. And I know that sounds really bad, but it's the hard truth. But and then I do a podcast called Erin's Supernatural Shenanigans, where I talk about kind of the funnier side of the paranormal, because it's not all like what they show on TV. It's like demon every night. It's not like that, and there's a
Right,
lot
right.
of laughs, a lot of behind the scenes that goes on, and so, I just kind of cover the funny stuff that goes on during an investigation. And, because like me and my teammates have scared the shit out of each other accidentally, and it's so funny. And so, we just kind of do that. And so I invite other investigators on to tell their funny stories of what happened during their investigations. And I don't strictly just talk about paranormal, you know, my favorite topic is conspiracy theories.
Uh-huh.
I am like probably one of the biggest conspiracy theorists I know. And politics, even though I don't, that's a hard one because I don't really
Well,
get
politics
into.
goes hand in hand with conspiracies,
Oh
right? So you
God,
kind of
yeah. Yeah.
like I was never into politics whatsoever until I
Right.
started looking into all of this
Conspiracies.
stuff, and I'm
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
okay, these assholes don't care about us whatsoever. So
Not
that's
one bit.
part of the main conspiracy here, right?
Hmm.
Then try to figure
Yeah.
out like who runs the fucking show and all that stuff, right? So
It's terrifying. It's literally terrifying. The deeper you go, the more terrifying it is. And it just makes you question everything. I
it does,
mean,
it does.
but and we can get into it in a minute, but I'm gonna tell you, it's like when you find one thing, you find another, and then it just all goes in one big circle. It's and you always find the same freaking assholes too
Right.
involved in all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Except of course the unknown ones, which we don't know who those people are yet.
Hmm.
Hopefully we'll get there. But yeah, and I have one more Instagram, and it's called Erin Loves America. And that's the one that I really share the political and the conspiracies and all that stuff. Excuse my hand. And just for your audience, I'm like in my parents' RV in North Carolina. It's recording. I'm not at my studio, and so I'm in my parents' cramped bedroom in their RV, and my mom's in there watching some old West movie or something. And so you have to excuse me if I start moving around a lot because I'm cramped and I'm uncomfortable, and it's too dark for me to go outside. So I'm like sitting in her bedroom. So apologies. But yeah, Aaron Loves America is like I said, that's where I share all kind of my political and my conspiracy stuff.
You
And
need to start doing more of those tunes.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
I
I was looking at it today and I'm like, she hasn't done one in a while.
I know. Well, that's just because I've been traveling so much. I went to Colorado because my RV is actually in Colorado. So and I leave it down there, and so that way I can just go whenever I feel like it. And so I went there, and then I came home, and then my mom was like, "I'm gonna be in North Carolina for a couple weeks," and I was like, "Shit, free vacation, hell yeah, all right."
Right?
And so I did. I just jumped in the car, and I was like, "I'm out." And my mom, I don't live very close to her, so I try to spend as much time as I can with her. And we're all getting older.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like my mom is She's got Alzheimer's. She's nearing the end, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
we try to get in there. My dad sees her like almost every day, right?
Oh,
But
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
big
it
hugs to you
sucks.
guys. I know that does suck, but big hugs to you guys because I've seen your posts and I pray for you guys all the time and you're
Appreciate it.
doing really good. You're a good son and I think that's really important. And yeah, that this was a very long drive to get here, but I'm really grateful because I'm not going to have that time forever,
Right.
and
You just
especially if the
never know.
globalist elites get their way.
Oh, of course, yeah. We're trapped in the 15-minute cities.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're not allowed to go visit because you ran out of your
Carbon
footprint,
credits or
carbon
whatever.
footprint.
Fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, you
I
you
got some
ate more
carbon right
meat
here.
than you were supposed to. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So retarded.
Oh my
There's no
God.
logic to what they're doing. It's
There
so stupid.
and there really isn't. And that's the thing though, is I think that's one of the things that really throws me the most is the people who can't see that. It's like you really think these people have our best interests in mind? And it's like if you logically think about this stuff that they're trying to implement, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. And
I'm still
but
trying to
yet
make sense of the whole big picture. It just doesn't add up. Like, why would
no.
they want to kill us if they need us? You know what I mean?
Well, because I don't think they need us. Like, I don't think they think they need us anymore. I think that they think they've got their use out of us. And I think that they now think that we're polluting their shit. I mean, well, and that's just one thing because I think there's so many avenues behind that. It's not just one thing. You know what I mean? I think there's many reasons, but I think that they genuinely do, think that we're in their way and that we've done everything necessary.
To
We
get
built
them
their
where they need to
shit.
be.
I mean, unless you drive through our cities and look at the infrastructure, I'm like, no, we're not done yet. People don't kill us yet.
I don't
No,
get it. How did you
I
get
don't
involved
know.
in the whole paranormal um ghost hunting, if you will?
Uh-huh. What was the question? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
how did you get involved with that? And did you have any experiences early on in life that kind of led you to that?
Yeah, you know what? There was actually quite a few reasons that I got involved with that. I've always kind of, felt stuff, if that makes sense. Like I don't like
Like
see.
with a sixth sense, or you seen it or
Yeah,
felt it
yeah,
around
like
you?
like I would say like maybe a higher intuition than most people, and like something just always felt kind of off. I don't know. It's like really hard to explain. There's like numerous things that happened when I was a child, and that almost premonition type things, and it was really a really strange experience because I would tell people stuff, and then they were just like, "You're such a weirdo," and
Right, right, of course, naturally, yeah.
yeah, and and then they or a freak or all these things, and so it just made me like really back off and not say anything, and then
Every time I told people about what I experienced, not everybody would receive it the same way, but some people would be like, "Yeah, you watch too many movies." And I'm like,
right,
oh, okay,
right,
that's why I
yeah,
heard fucking voices in my fucking basement
right, yeah,
because I watch
or
too many movies.
yeah, or
I
you have a
still watch a lot of
really
fucking movies,
yeah,
but I don't hear
yeah.
voices anymore.
Right. Or you have a really good imagination. And and a lot of people really do brush that kind of stuff off, and which is understandable because a lot of it is not, you don't want to experience that and it's not fun and it is a little bit scary. I personally like doing that. I kind of get off on finding something scary,
Sure, sure.
I apologize for having to flip my phone around. I'm holding it in my arms. Um, but there was a lot of experiences that happened when I was a kid, but yeah, it wasn't just like one particular thing that led me, but
Give me one of
I,
your biggest moments that will never
oh
leave
God.
your memory.
Oh, and that was when I was a child, and well, obviously, but me and my sisters were walking home from school, and this this dude like pulled up in a car,
Want
and
some
he was
candy?
pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah. And I will never forget the car. I'll never forget him. I'll never forget like the color of his hair. I mean, it was just so freaky. But like at that instant, I knew like if we didn't get away, like we were gonna be dead. Like I knew we
Right.
were never gonna see our parents again. And of course, you know, a lot of people will say, well, that's just intuition. That's just your survival instincts kicking in, you know, and that's true, you know, and I agree with all that, but like the vision I got was not what a normal like 8 or 10-year-old kid would get, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep. For sure. Because you
Yeah,
probably
and
never seen anything like that. And
no,
so
not
why would your
really.
intuition or your vision show you that, right?
Yeah, and I
Something
knew.
happened after?
Well, you know, I told my sisters like run, and we did. And like I pulled them away and we ran as fast as we could. And we had to like kind of almost outwit, if you like. And we got to our house without him seeing where we lived, and then we hid. And we saw him like driving around, and we called my dad, and we're like, literally somebody's trying to kidnap us. And my dad came home and he called the police, and the police caught him.
Oh shit.
And yeah, yeah, no, he caught him, but you know, I don't know what happened because I was really young, you know, but I do know that later in life when I think, you know, it's really hard to remember, but I think I was in my 30s maybe. And I got a call from the police, and they were like, "Hey, do you remember this when you were a kid?" And I was like, "I'll literally never forget that." And they were like, "Can you come and testify against him and tell what happened?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I did. I flew down to testify against him. They flew me down. I testified, and they flew me back. It was that serious. Like
Did you
he had
see him?
harmed. Yeah, yeah, he was in the courtroom. He had harmed a lot of children. Like
Holy
some of
shit.
the, yeah, we were some of the lucky ones that got away.
Literally one of those people you learn about in elementary school in the videos.
Yeah.
Like the guy in
And
the van or whatever, right? Have you seen that movie, The Black
yeah.
Phone?
What, oh yes. God,
Oh,
that was freaky, dude. That
oh
man.
my God. It was so well done too. It was amazing.
Yeah. And I was like, you know, and yeah, and the fear that that child had had, and I was like, oh, that's pretty. That's pretty good because you know I can relate to that fear. So he did a really good job portraying
Yeah.
that. You
It was
know.
cool though how they had like the previous children communicating with him,
Hmm.
telling them how their experience was and how to get out.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, and
fucking
so
awesome.
yeah, when I was testifying, you know, before the trial, we couldn't talk to any of the other victims, but afterwards, we were able to talk, and yeah, they were sharing some of their experiences, and I was just like felt really grateful that, you know, whatever that was, you know, whether that was nothing to do with paranormal or premonition or whatever, it was enough that I alerted that, you know, this is really, really bad situation and we have got to go, you know. And so I felt very grateful that we had got away because a lot of other kids didn't. So
Did
it
you find
was,
out his name and if he went to jail and all that shit?
he did go to jail. Yeah. And he should be there the rest of his life. But that's another problem with this whole situation in this country, you know, is that they're fighting for the bad guys, for the child harmers, and not for the good people of this country,
Right.
you know, and that's an issue.
Normalizing everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually
It,
just discussed this topic last night on my other show.
right.
Crazy.
It is. It's just insane when they're sitting there going to court, you know, trying to, you know, especially in California, if you look at some of the laws that they've passed,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, what is going on that you're sitting there trying to say that like a 10 or 12-year-old child is old enough to consent because they know love and whether they love an adult or not and want to sleep with an adult. I'm like, are you freaking
According
kidding
to
me right
Oprah
now?
Winfrey, they are, right?
Oh God, don't get me started on that fucking
Remember what
psychopath.
you remember what she said?
Which
If you're
time?
doing it properly, You're not
Yeah, a
abusing
child
them
will like
or
it.
something. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
In these
How is
freaks,
she not
like,
in fucking prison after saying something like that?
well, exactly. And that, well, because of the whole ring of people, they are
You and I know that, but
they're really protected right now, and
yeah,
I say
yeah,
right now because I don't think it'll last forever,
it shouldn't.
and eventually the tide will turn, and eventually these people that are asleep and don't, just cannot simply wake up to it, eventually they'll have no choice but to, and I don't know what it's going to take for us to all get there as a people, but I just know that we're on a fucking massive train wreck, and it's just not going to be fun when that bitch hits something, because that's where
Yeah,
we're headed. It is just getting to the point now where I'm like, let me fucking off. Okay. If y'all want to like go and do your communist Marxist bullshit, you go the fuck ahead, but you don't need to drag me along because I don't want to do it. But
yeah. Maybe we'll have to wait for the aliens to come and grab us and take us over the
I'm like,
Arctic wall.
I'm like, please don't leave me here. Like, I'm like,
It's insane. It's insane.
why are you being a bitch like that and leaving me on this fucking planet, dude?
And it all happened. It seemed to all happen so fast, where
Oh my God. The
all this stuff
news,
started pouring out, and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
oh my God, the news
Am I?
cycle is
I'm not living in the same world as I was when I
no,
was like a kid, or
no.
even 20 years ago.
No, and we're not. It's nothing like that. I mean, especially like our age, and they joke around saying that we're the toughies because we were like the latchkey kids, you know what I mean? Like we did everything on our own, just come home when the streetlights come on. Okay, like, and our parents had no idea where we were. And we're out fucking rolling in the streets and getting in all
I, s- yeah, I still remember my parents were like, "Do whatever you want, go wherever you want. Just
right,
about when the sun goes down, then come home."
right.
And
Yeah, just
even when the sun was down, I was
right.
still allowed to play on my street
Yeah, yeah.
because it
Just
was fucking
yeah.
safe.
Yeah. And I've questioned that a lot of times, is it because we didn't have the internet back then and we didn't realize,
Probably has a lot to do with it, I would say.
right? But at the same time, I think that society is degraded so much that I think it is a lot worse than it was, because I mean our just just people in general have just degenerated
Yeah.
so badly. I mean,
And
everybody's
again, I
kind of,
think the internet has a lot to do with that as well.
oh yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's just all that's all I think it's all kind of part of the plan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they got into the schools, they managed to get the curriculum away from any kind of God, you know. They took all that out of school. You don't even have to say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore,
They're teaching the opposite of morality now in school.
Yeah, pretty much,
Like, what the
you
fuck?
can, yeah, you can be
I
what you
still
want.
remember I never went to a Catholic school or like a religious school at all or anything, but we still said the Lord's Prayer in elementary
Right.
school.
We always said the
And
Pledge of Allegiance.
I
Yeah,
remember
every
doing it
morning.
willingly, even though
Yeah,
my family wasn't brought up religious. I was like, I think this is a good thing, you know?
yeah, yeah. I used to love standing up and do the Pledge of Allegiance. It made me really proud. And that was just one of the things I always really cherished. And they don't even do that now. They don't even do that. And I don't even think most kids know it anymore. And I find that really sad. And that's just one of the many fears that I have to keep my brain away from every day, is because with all these illegals coming in and the border
Hmm.
crossing, it's like, these people that think they're just coming for a good life, I'm like, y'all are fucking delusional. Like, these people literally have zero allegiance to this country or to the people of this country. And so if they were asked to do something to get something, you think that they won't do that?
Right.
They don't give a shit about us because they're not American and they don't have to be.
We
That,
are completely, I saw it when I was in elementary school, like kindergarten. I was in kindergarten in grade four, or sorry, 1984. And
right.
there's like maybe one or two brown kids or Indian kids or whatever in this whole school. And then
Right.
year after year, you start seeing more and more of them come in.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but whatever. They're just people too, right? That's how I
Right.
was always raised. Was like we're all just people. The skin
Well, and
color,
that's, yeah, when I grew up, there was not a lot of, it was predominantly white, and but nobody gave a shit. Like
right?
literally nobody cared. Everybody was
Yeah.
just friends with everybody. There was none of this insane stuff that they're now making people. You know what I mean? They're
Hmm.
turning them into racists. They're turning them into bigots. They're
Yeah,
turning them
yeah.
into homophobes. They're literally pushing this
Because
hate and
there's
fear
such a
onto people.
huge there's such a huge culture clash because of the mass immigration, and that's what's
Yeah,
dividing us. It's like
it's part
we
of,
can't eat, like they're not slowly integrating them into our society. They're
no,
rushing in here, buying up everything and making us try to conform to their culture.
right, and they're not disseminating, to our ways and our
Right.
language or anything. There's nothing like that, and it's really disheartening, especially for my friends who have genuinely immigrated here and went through the entire process, which is a long and arduous process, and it's tough, and it takes years and years. And I have friends who have just been, going through that whole process. And one of my friends, it took her like 8 years. She's from Brazil, and something like 8 years. And she's pissed. And I mean pissed because of the shit that they gave her. She was married for like 6 years before they even had a kid, you know? So it's not like she came over and got pregnant and whatever, nothing like that. She did everything properly, the correct way, and they have given her so much hell. I think she's only just now got her American citizenship after all that time of living here, working here, being married, having a kid, you know what I mean?
Right.
And she's a good, person. She's a good God-fearing woman, and it with great education, works extremely hard, and yet she wasn't allowed to just have things, and so
But the
she's
people that are
very,
coming in now are just getting a free ride.
oh my God.
It's
And
like up here,
not
all
only
the
that,
Indian people are driving around in fucking Dodge Chargers and Challengers. And like,
right.
what the fuck? I never was able to get one of those.
Well, and people you can't, you, and and for our tax dollars to go doing this as well, that's such an insult. And yet people are like, what are people doing? They're
Yeah.
just going, oh well, it'll change when we vote in November. And I'm like, oh my God, good luck, people. That's
Nope.
all I can say is good luck, because if they're not a uniparty, then you know if you think that these people are just going to give over power, okay, yeah, he won. I'm like, they'd rather it burn to the ground than
Absolutely. Yeah.
let
And that's what they're doing. They're also provoking fucking World War III right now.
oh my God, it's
It's like,
I don't
dude,
even watch.
leave Russia alone, leave China
um
alone. Don't fucking provoke them because that's what we're doing.
oh, it's just
But this
terrifying, the
ties
whole.
into so many different things too, like the
Oh
whole
my God.
Jewish world domination plan from the Bible, all that shit.
Well, yeah, it all comes again. I was saying to you earlier, it just comes full circle. The whole thing just becomes full circle. And then when you really set aside what you think and set aside what you think that you've researched and learned, and then go even further, and then go research some more, go learn some more, it's it's terrifying. I'm sorry. It just is terrifying. The only reason why I'm not terrified is because I know who my father is, my savior. And I know, me personally, these people have zero power over me. Like, they literally have no control over me. They have no power over me. They're never going to have power over me. You can come take me away, put me in a gulag.
You can
I
kill
don't
the
give a
body,
shit.
but you can't kill my soul.
Right, like, literally, I don't care, do what you gotta do, but I, personally, am never going to be like, "Okay, you're right, I'm gonna give up and just stop caring and stop praying for world peace," or whatever it is. I don't care how hippie-ish it sounds, but that's the ultimate goal, is for everybody to live harmonious. Happy, healthy, prosperous is what God wants us for us. That's it. And I'm not gonna stop trying for that, whether it's God or whatever. I don't give a shit. It's just that I know that what's happening now is not the way we're supposed to live.
No, it's not.
And it's
Absolutely.
not joyous, it's not fun, it's definitely not harmonious, and it's not sustainable. It's not something that can keep going. And these people like thinking that they're going to live in some socialist utopia. I'm like, what the fuck
Yeah.
are, like, what is going through your head?
More like a communist dystopia.
Yeah, I'm like, you can do what you want, but stop fucking dragging me along, god dang it. I don't want to live
Yeah.
like this. Like, I'm gonna just live the way I live, and that's just fucking that. Y'all can all kiss my ass. And I'm like I said, and people our age, they pretty much feel the same way, you know. And so I'm like, I hope to God that we get our shit together and just be like, no, we're not doing that actually. Like, we're not. And just put an end to it. But you gotta have enough people because, I don't know. Do
We
you know what
did
I
talk.
mean?
Yeah, we talked yesterday about how I forget what it was called, like the World Peace Union or something like that, and they got 4,000 people together to meditate on
Right.
uh, peace or something like that, and it worked, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like it's crazy. Like that's what needs to happen. And you see,
Oh,
there's a lot of people that
absolutely.
are posting
Yeah.
like meditation day today. Everybody unite and meditate
Yes.
on this thing, right? And
Yeah.
it changes things because the power of
Absolutely.
our minds and the power of
Yes.
whoever is out there, whoever's up
Yeah.
there, the
Yeah.
ether, the creator,
100%.
it all
100%.
messes together and
And
moves
and
things.
and so now you can start to see, so when you say stuff like that, all right, and you start explaining it that way, you can now start to see the importance of them taking that out of school. You
Right.
see what I mean? Now you can start to see of why they have done certain things, because they're like, well, why would they take God out of school? And of course you got the little dumbasses that are like, well, because it's got to be fair for everybody. Why should they be able to pray? And I'm like, shut the fuck up, okay? Just shut it. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
extremely important because a raised consciousness is not a controllable person, and they don't want that. And so, and it's funny that you say that, because a lot of people are like that. They feel that way. And I mean, I sometimes can sound that way, but I certainly don't feel that way. I do believe that there's stuff we can do, and praying is one of them,
Hmm.
because it really does only take one person to start that. And then when you start to, like you say, you get that group consciousness, it does change things. And prayer is the most powerful form of weapon you can ever have. You can sit there and put all these arms on me, you can put this and that, but it is not as powerful as prayer ever. And it really does just start that way. And so you are so right about that. And then, have you ever heard of the Schumann resonance?
Yes.
Yes. Right. So
I
now,
was
did
going
you
to
hear
bring
about,
that up.
yeah. Because when they did that prayer vigil, or not necessarily the one that you're talking about, but I know that, before we all got annihilated on Twitter or whatever back in the day, when we were all friends, everybody was all, being able to talk to each other. We did that, where everybody got together at a certain time and stopped what they were doing and went and prayed, and we all watched the Schumann resonance, and you should have seen it light up. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal because that was true. Like, we didn't make that shit up. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
There's
It's
nobody
like
sitting
the
there.
what do you call the I forget the word, but we talked last night also about how when you take different jars of water, and you put
Yes.
different words on each one,
Yes.
and you freeze it, and they
Mm-hmm.
each make a different pattern. Like the
Yeah.
angry ones are all fucked up, the love
Yep.
ones are all harmonious,
Yes.
all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
And
our minds, our words change the
yes.
energy around us. It's fucking
Yes.
wild.
It absolutely does, and I always say, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Emmett Fox. Um,
No.
okay, well, I would recommend you and all your listeners go get an Emmett Fox book. There's my favorite one is called well, The Power Through Constructive Thinking, but to start off with, I would recommend Make Your Life Worthwhile. And he talks about that very very thing all the time throughout the book. And the nice thing about the book is that it's just like one page essays, so it's not like you're sitting there having to read this full book. You can just read one page every morning right before work, and it'll lift your mood. And
Okay.
he goes deeply into the power of thought and the power of prayer, and he explains so well about what you put out does not come back void. So whatever it is you're putting out is what you're going to get back. I mean, it's just the same thing as karma, right?
Right, right.
So whatever your thoughts are and the way that you're thinking and living is what what the life you're going to get. So if you're constantly judging and negative and just nasty, you might have money and you might have prestige and all this, but you're going to get what you're putting out there. It will come around. And so I always try to remember that whatever I put out does not come back void. So am I going to put out negative and be standing over there looking at somebody going, oh God, look at her fat ass, she shouldn't wear that, or
Mm-hmm.
nasty thoughts about a person that I don't know who has probably got some massive struggles going on. You know what I mean?
I know a lot of people like that.
Yeah, myself included. I do it to myself all the time, and then I have to stop myself and remind myself that whatever I'm putting out there isn't coming back void. So what are you gonna, what are you choosing to put out there? And so I always try to remember that and make myself stop thinking negative thoughts, especially about myself. And like I was doing that to you earlier when I was joking, and I'm like, oh my God, I've been on the beach all day, I look like crap, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, who gives a shit? Like
And I was like,
literally.
I'm sure you look fine.
Yeah, and I'm just like, but who cares anyways? Like, who's gonna, and if somebody gets on and starts going, oh my God, Erin, what the fuck is wrong? You look like shit. I'm like, who, you know what I mean? Do you not have anything better to do with your time than to
Right.
pick on another
And who
person?
cares?
Right. And it's like, well, how about you go fuck yourself? You know what I mean? And it's
this
like,
is what this is what this was all about for me. Growing this beard, it
right,
was I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm
right,
growing this beard because I feel like it's a spiritual kind of connection with the
right,
creator. It's how I should look. It
right.
suits me, I think. And I get backlash from people.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you shaving that fucking thing? I'm like, you got $1 million? No. Well, I'm not fucking shaving it. And even if you did have $1 million, I still wouldn't fucking shave it.
But I mean, it's
It's a
like,
statement, right?
why do you give a shit? Like, what is
Yeah.
it to you that I have this,
Yeah.
And it's like, my
Most of it
mom,
is probably just jealousy
oh
because they
my
can't grow a
God.
beard like this.
And, and that's why as soon as I start, if I look at another woman and I start making a judgment, the first thing I ask myself is, what is it about you, yourself, that is making you think that about another person that you don't know? Like, what is it about you? And so I make myself look at me and say, well, because I'm jealous that, this woman doesn't care that she's wearing that. And I'm not saying it's some slutty or anything like that. I'm just saying, like she's walking around in a bathing suit and she's got a bunch of cellulite or whatever. And she's
I
just like,
say
fuck.
good
She's
for
like,
her
fuck
for
it.
being confident walking in her skin.
Right. And so that's why I make myself look at me, why are you saying that about her? Like, what's wrong with you? And then I make myself look and reflect about why I'm doing that. And
That's how you should be doing. Yeah.
when I do, it's like, oh, that hurts, that stings. So you need to fix that. You know what I mean? Like you need to go inward and change that, and get some confidence like her, and not give a shit. And so
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I try to do, so that
See,
I don't
it's
behave that way.
funny. It's funny because most women will look at somebody and be like, why are you wearing that? And most men will be like, holy shit.
Right. And
Like
well,
there was this girl at work and she was walking by and her fucking ass cheeks were hanging out, like
oh
literally
gosh.
under her black denim shorts. And she's holding hands with her boyfriend. And I was just like, whoa. I don't know how I would feel
Right.
if I was her boyfriend,
Right.
but whatever, you know?
Well, and that's the thing though, is like, what business is it of ours? You
Right.
know what I mean? What is, if that's how she's comfortable and he's okay with it, even if he isn't okay with it, I suppose. I mean, that goes into a lot of different avenues, but at the same time, it's like, what the fuck business is it of mine? How about just mind your own business and do what you're supposed to be doing today, and don't
That's
worry
what
about what everybody
we've
else.
always been told, that mind your own fucking business, right? And it's
Right.
like, you
Right.
know what? You're right. And when you're right,
Yeah.
you're right. And you're always right.
And I love being right. I just love it. And when I'm not right, I'll
I
admit
don't
it.
mind being wrong. I've been
Right.
wrong before.
And
So
and that's the other thing, is that with all this stuff, especially my conspiracy stuff, I freaking pray that I'm wrong, and that
yeah,
everybody can laugh at
absolutely.
me and go, you know what, you really are an idiot. Like
Yeah.
yeah, you really are a freak, and you're dumb, and you're so wrong. And I'd be like, thank God, thank you, I'm so
But you know
happy.
what the worst part about all of this is? Most of the shit we've been talking about, we've been right about.
Oh my God, oh
And that's the
dude.
problem. It's like, that's why it's like, how are people still not awake yet? And some people do know what's going on, but they refuse to fucking acknowledge it.
Right.
I wish I could be like that.
How can you live in that kind of bliss though? Like and it's not blissful, because like, I don't want to get too personal, but like my sister, oh my God. I'm like, and yet everything's tough. It's all tough financially, just, for all of us, and it's just like, how do you not understand that there's something very wrong here? And yet you're like, Kamala. And I'm just like, holy
Oh no,
yeah,
Kamala.
dear Lord. I tell you what,
Oh.
yeah, it certainly makes you a patient person when you're having to be around people that genuinely cannot see what they're saying is just so fucking out there.
Yeah.
Like, and
It's
I just bite my tongue, because I'm like, dude, I just can't. I just can't. I can't go there with you, because I love you. And I teeter on the line of, I'm just about to burst your bubble, and we're gonna not probably talk forever. Because I'm so tired of people being asleep and dragging us through this shit more. And then I teeter on that other line of, let them do what they're gonna do.
that's
Just
how I am. That's how I am. I Before I started doing my podcast, I was like always wanting to like make sure people were aware of what was going on. And I
right.
would start stressing out
I
like
know.
about like, you people, you can't see what the fuck's going on. And now I stopped doing that, and I just
Right.
started doing this show. And I said,
Right.
hey, I got a podcast. Maybe you want
Right.
to learn a thing or two. And I don't fucking preach or anything anymore. I'm just like,
Yeah.
here's my show if you want to
Yeah.
listen to it.
Yep.
I can have therapy speaking to like-minded people on here,
Yes.
and you can
Yes.
check it out too if you want. So
And I love that. And I love that. And that's one of the reasons I started my podcast, was just to be able to talk to other people with other experiences, and to know that I wasn't the crazy one. You know what I mean? Because that's how I felt my whole life. Like I just felt like I didn't fit in, like I was just always the odd one out. And now I I don't feel like that. I feel like
you
I've
have a
found
way,
my family,
yeah, you have a way of not
expressing myself.
suppressing not suppressing all those thoughts anymore. You
Right.
can be cathartic and let it out on your
Yeah.
platform, right?
And
It's
I'm like
amazing.
such a goofball. Like I find the funny in everything, and I that's
Me
one
too.
of
Me
my
too.
release mechanisms, you know what I mean? And so to be able to do a show where we just talk about goofy ass shit, it's just so much fun, you know. And but we do, you know, and I, like I said, it doesn't always, like I had David, you know, from Down the Rabbit Hole on last week, and
Okay.
we just recorded. We didn't do a live, we recorded. He's amazing, and we talked about all kinds of shit, but little of it was paranormal. But we
Kind of
talked
like
about
now.
uh
Kind of like right now. I wanted to get into paranormal with you, but
right.
here we go on tangents, and that's how it usually goes. It's
Yeah,
like you said, like anything you want to talk about, like all of
yeah.
the above, because don't worry about it, you know.
Yeah, I was like, "Do you want to just shoot the shit?" And you were like, "Yeah, we'll just do whatever." I was like, "All right, that's my kind of show," because you know, I find it really hard to stick to like
One
scripts.
topic,
I
yeah,
never
for
do.
sure.
I never do.
I
I
never
always feel
take
like I'm a
notes on my
tangent.
show either. 165 episodes right now, and
Oh,
I've
nice,
maybe
nice.
for a couple shows that we talked about movies, I listed movies to talk about, but
Right,
I never take
right.
notes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have you on mine, you know, as soon as I get home and I'm back in my studio. And
I'm
I
down.
apologize to your audience because I am all over the place sitting here trying to
Don't
be
worry about it.
comfortable on my phone, and you can see my hand.
Yeah, so you were the goofy one. I like to be goofy too. I'm the type of
Yes.
guy when I go to work, usually every day I have a new joke to go around and
Oh
tap
God.
somebody on the shoulder and say, "Hey, how do you seat four gay guys on a stool?
Oh
How?
Lord.
Flip it upside down." And they start fucking dying, right? Like just some stupid shit like that. And everybody just like they die laughing. And then like 2 days
Right.
later, they're like, "I'm still laughing about that one." You know?
Right. Right. And that's the thing too. And that's the other thing. Is back in our day, you could tell stuff and people did not get offended.
Hmm.
And, you know, it's like when they get so uptight about something, you can't say that. And I'm like, why the fuck not? I mean, that's just so outrageous. And so I always tell
What do
them,
you mean I can't say gay tarded? What's wrong with you?
right, and but you know, it's not, if it's not something you want to hear, then go find something else to watch, you know, but
Yeah,
you can't censor everybody else because your feelings are hurt.
right.
That's outrageous. Like that's dangerous.
That's
And
where we're headed. That's where we are.
I well, we are there. Yeah, we are there because they'll probably censor this because of what you just said. And it's just outrageous because you're not being offensive. You're not like picking out any one particular person. We're just having a joke. And if somebody wants to joke about me and my short hair and say, "Oh, you look like a dude," and all this, I'm like, I'm not going to get offended by that. I'll probably laugh with you and be like, "Well, yeah, actually, sometimes I," and
Yeah.
it's just like whatever. You know, I really don't give
Yeah,
a
I'm a
shit.
big old bull dyke because I have short hair. Yeah, whatever.
Right. You know, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. You know, not true. But what does it matter? Really, really could care less. But you
What do
know,
you
I
care about my
always,
sexuality, you LGBT cutie?
it's just like what does it matter? And my favorite person that I watch on Instagram is gayer than shit, and she is a loudmouth though for this stuff. And so I'm like, you know, I'm with her on that. I don't know if you see her, she's Becky Wise, but
Don't know.
I'm jealous as shit of her fitness level. I'm like, whatever, Becky.
Ah, fuck. I gave up on that a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I'm still trying. I'm like, I might get there one day, but anyways, I follow her. She's amazing and she jokes about this stuff all the time. She's like, people lighten the fuck up. Like, this is so ridiculous.
Absolutely
And
light up.
yeah, and she's, and you know, like she gets questions like, does your son call you mom? She's like, of yeah, like I'm a mother. I'm a woman and I have a son and I'm his mom. You know, and I'm
It's
like,
not like she's a man and has a
right.
gay thought,
And
like a gay
yeah,
husband.
it's so insane that the stupid shit that they say to her. And I'm like, people, oh my God. But I always say to the young ones, right? Do you remember In Living Color?
Love and living color.
Oh my God. Can you imagine now the meltdown that these little snowflakes would have
Oh
if
man.
we made them sit through that?
I wish it was still on TV.
It should be. It should be. It was the best show and it covered everything. Every topic that these little fucking pansies get offended by, they covered.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was everybody doing the show. It was so awesome. And then there's this one, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And I'm sorry I keep messing with my hair. It's just really annoying me. And it's short hair. It's fun to do this, I guess. I don't
I
know.
know, I do this all the time.
Right. I'm like, it's
Because it's
nice. I
prickly.
don't have to sit there and twirl my hair. I can just do that. But there's this show. Have you ever seen Little Britain?
Oh my god, computer says no. Computer says no.
The computer says no. Oh my
The
God. Now
old
they
lady
should be
pissing in the fucking
required.
grocery store. Holy shit.
Oh my God. What's that one? Oh, Jesus. There's so many good ones. I mean, but they had David, and oh, he was amazing. And so I was just like, and you could joke and you could have a laugh and you could just express yourself and not worried about political correctness. And I miss that.
Me
You
too.
know, I miss those
There is
shows.
there's like
Everything.
no good movies anymore. There's no good
No.
fucking TV shows. Like
And
everything's
everything has a
woke.
politically correct fucking dumb
Ah,
stuff. And it's so dumb and so cheesy. And you're like, you don't need to reiterate that with us, okay? We're
no.
aware that that's
We
how
get it. It's not fucking funny though. So
it is
do
not, and it
something
turns me
else.
off. And as soon as I see that stuff, I'm like, I'm out. I'm not watching any more of this shit.
Yeah.
I don't watch it anymore. So I still watch Little Britain and In Living Color on YouTube because those were the days, man, where you could
Little
just
Britain
enjoy.
came out around the time when we started really going forward with all this bullshit.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
like probably one of the last very funny,
Yeah,
offensive shows.
yeah, and I recommend you guys if you have not seen Little Britain or In Living Color because that's pretty old. That shows our age over here. But
I in grade 6, I had a Homie the Clown T-shirt.
oh my God, Homie the Clown
Yeah,
was the best. And Fireman, what was it?
Fire
Pork
Marshal
and
Bill.
beans, pork and beans.
Let me show you something.
Beans. I was just like, oh my God. But yes, Homie the
You see this
Clown
fork?
was.
You take it and stick it in the.
That's right. Me and my sister were laughing about that the other day. We were like, "Oh my God, everything that they had on there, they literally would have a meltdown over today."
Especially Handyman.
Oh, that's what she was saying. She was like, "You wouldn't even be allowed to say that," and I'm like, "What about Homie the Clown? Like you were saying, you wouldn't, they'd freaking lose their mind over this shit." And I'm
Oh,
like,
for
y'all
sure.
need to, y'all got to stop. Like everybody ain't getting no damn trophy,
It's
okay?
like you can't say that. What do you
Mm-mm.
mean I can't say that? It's called freedom of speech.
Yeah, and did you see that? Who was that woman that was on the thing the other day saying about that? Like we've got to have some regulation because
It was Kamala Harris.
oh, was it really?
She
Ugh.
was she was saying she wants to censor every platform
Oh, that's
because
right. Every
yeah,
social
I
media.
posted it. I posted it. She
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was you.
if Facebook does it, why can't the other platforms do it, right? So she wants to have censorship all across the fucking board because she's a fucking
Yeah.
commie scum.
And see, this is like I didn't even realize it was her. That's how much I pay attention to her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cackling hyena. That's what I call her.
We can all be unburdened by what has been.
Oh my god.
Dude, I'm like, do you even know what you're saying? Like,
I don't
or
think she does. I think she's on a script, just like
oh,
Biden is.
she's got
Biden can't
handlers.
even read the fucking script.
No, no, they
So
all have handlers. I mean, they're not running shit. They're just puppets, of course,
absolutely,
and they'll get rid of them just like they do everybody else when they're done. When they don't need them
they
anymore. And
they fulfilled their quota, and now
yeah,
on to the next one.
yep.
Trudeau up here is still going at it.
Oh God.
like a
That
fucking
dude, you mean
dictator.
Castro's son?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's
Yeah,
funny when I tell people that, like normies, that they're like, "Oh, come
yeah.
on," and I'm like, "Have you put a fucking picture of them two together?
It's
If you put
so
it over
insane.
top, it literally looks exactly the fucking same. Why do
Yep.
you think I'm a fucking weirdo for pointing
And
that
then
out?"
go research his mama and where
She was a
used
fucking,
to
she
hang
was,
out,
yeah.
and yeah,
It's
and her
pictures of her
idol.
and him
Yeah.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
They,
why
yeah,
is this
she,
such a far off possibility?
yeah. Well, and it's not just that. I mean, if we want to deep dive, oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, look at Anthony Fauci and who he looks like. I
Right.
mean, oh, it's just like, yeah, it's so crazy. Like all the, it's just,
Like, well,
it's so insane that you can't even wrap your mind around all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like it's we've got to be living in some kind of simulation or matrix because it just can't be real. It's just so outrageous.
and the
It's,
fact that also, Aaron, the fact that I don't know how much stock to put into this one, but have you heard that one where like a certain percentage of the population and a very high percentage of the population of the whole entire planet doesn't have an inner dialogue?
what?
Yeah.
No.
And
Like they
these are
can't
what we
think
call the
inside their.
NPCs. Yeah.
That's weird.
It's very weird.
I mean, but how true is that though?
That's what I'm wondering too. I'm
Right,
not sure,
because I
but I've
I
heard it
I
so many times.
do you know what I do recall hearing something about that, but I'll be honest, I haven't really looked into that because I was just like, it's just another one of their psyops that they're just putting out saying, but is it because of there's numerous things that my mind goes straight to. One being the vaccination, one being like, are we starting to be born without souls? Is there AI already introduced into our bloodlines? Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like my brain goes like 20 different directions just on that statement that you just said, because that's how my conspiracy mind does.
Well, you think, right? Therefore, you are.
Well, I
So
do actually think I do have a conscious, so
I think AI is nothing new. It's now
no.
being integrated by the government to society. I think
Yeah.
they've already had it for a long time,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's why it's already
Oh
developed
yeah.
so quickly because it's already
Yeah.
been there.
Oh yeah, they're just letting us in on the secret. And that's the thing too, is that I have learned all over all these years is that anything that they let us have, like they've already had for probably 100 years, if not more, because they are selfish, they're pieces of shit, and they don't think that we deserve to have any of this stuff. And so yeah, I'm like anything that they come out with. And that's why like everything that we're going through is so fucking unnecessary. But it's just the way that they planned it. It's the way that they want it. And until people stand up and say, you're not in charge. Actually, there's only one in charge. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to let our father rule over us and not you. Then it's just going to keep going. And it's interesting to say the least. You know, what other thing that I wanted to touch back on, because you had mentioned that everything is just happening so fucking quickly.
Hmm.
The news cycle blows my mind about how god dang ADHD the fucking public are, because it's been what, just over a year, and everybody's completely forgotten about Maui. They've completely
Yeah.
almost forgotten about Ukraine, even though they keep trying to cycle that back in. I mean, all these major fucked up things that happened, and people don't even talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
There's no awareness. There's no, let's help these people. Let's check in on them. How are they doing? It's just, oh God, look what over here, what's happening now. And it just cycles through so fast.
And what are we doing for dinner tomorrow? Where are we going?
Right. It
You know,
just
like
disgusts me,
it's fucked up. But that's how, I mean, that's how life is. I mean, like that's how we always lived our life, looking at the news as well, right?
Right. Well, not so much anymore. I don't,
But it's so, everything's so ramped up because of all of the information overload that we're getting
Right.
on a minute to minute basis.
Right.
You know
And
what? Oh,
and
this
and
this
it's
happened. This
yeah,
happened. This happened. This happened. That happened.
and
That happened.
it's
Holy
all
fuck!
on purpose. It's all on
Yeah,
purpose. Fear, and as soon as people start to wake up from something, they need another psyop because they just can't let people, move past and go, hang on a minute.
yeah.
Something's kind of wrong here.
Doom
And
scrolling.
yeah, and so I'm, God knows what they're gonna do, but I don't know, I like I said, this is why like I really started in on this kind of spiritual journey because I mean I've been on one for a long time, but I've really over the last
We all
couple of
have, but some
years.
people just don't know about it.
Right. Yeah, that's true, but it's really started to make me realize that I have to be fully in when we say, we're going to seek the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
That's now. That's not when we die, that's now.
Yeah.
We need to find that now, and
Well,
you
it's
better
both.
find it
It's
quick.
now and forever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But basically it's just saying, you got to look inward. It's an inside job. It's all there if we want to, let it be the ruler over our lives,
Right.
rather than these dipshits or whoever thinks they're in charge or leaders. I'm like, there ain't no leader. I ain't got no leader. I got one and only, and that's it.
We have
And
to accept the fact that we are more powerful than they are.
oh my God, if people knew their power, and this is another rabbit hole to go down because this is part of the reason why they do what they do, because if people understood how powerful we really truly are, like they literally wouldn't exist. The baddies would not exist.
Well, that's why they bombard us with fear. That's their main weapon,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
because fear
So to
is the
keep us
number
down, and
one.
they give
Oh,
us what my good friend from last night, Ben, said. We're on a constant cortisol drip,
oh my
where the
God.
fear that is being pumped into our sights, our
Yep.
psyches,
Yep.
is constant cortisol drip, and it's
Constant.
it's constantly trying to diminish the power that we have over them.
Right. But the scary part is though is that a lot of people don't know how to live without that fear. They don't.
Right.
They wouldn't know what to do if their life was like uncomplicated and good for a day. It's like there's some kind of chemical release when drama goes on or something. It's just the most bizarre thing because I used to be like that. It was like I had to be kind of like, oh my God, what's happening? And all in on the gossip and all that bullshit. Until I finally learned, I'm like, that's not how to live. That's literally not how to live. Fear is the number one killer amongst people. And I don't mean like death, I mean like brain death,
Mm-hmm.
life death, living, just enjoying yourselves. And fear is the number one of just existing instead of living. And fear, and then that moves. So that was kind of going back to what I said earlier when I try to look into myself to see what my problem is when I am judging another person or being a bitch or just whatever happens to be my little shit show that day. you know I always look, you always find fear. There's 1,000 forms of fear that end up taking over
It's
my
almost
brain.
as if the mind is fear itself, and you have to be able to conquer your own mind from conquering you.
Absolutely. But that's what I was saying a minute ago. You got to look on the inside. It's all an inside job. And if you want to seek the kingdom of heaven, you do that now. You don't do that when you're dying and on your deathbed. You do it now. And it's just like the whole thing is salvation, which people just don't also realize. They think they're going to find salvation when, I'm going to be a really good person and do all these wonderful things so that I can have salvation. No, salvation is actually a daily thing. Salvation is health, happiness, and prosperity. And that's how God wants us to live. You know, he wants us to be healthy, he wants us to be happy, and he wants us to be prosperous. And that is salvation. And so you have to seek your salvation daily. It's a daily thing to seek.
It's not
And
a
so,
one-off. Yeah.
right. And so every day I want to be, you know, prosperous. So I'm going to go and I'm going to work hard. You know, I'm going to go earn my living, because that's what you do. You know, you work hard and you pay for your things. And you know, I'm going to be joyous, I'm going to be happy, because that's the right way to live, you know what I mean? And I'm going to be healthy, so I'm going to make better choices. I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to, or even go for a walk, you know. And you know, those are the things that we have to do to seek our salvation, because when you live like that, think about it though, when you live like that and you make those choices every day, what does your brain do? Like,
It
you,
rewires.
right, but you become joyous, and then you emanate that, and
Do you
then
like,
those thoughts you're putting out, and then you're attracting that.
yeah, for sure. Do you like heavy metal music?
I do.
Okay, so there's this band, and it's one of my favorite bands since the early 90s, and they're called Fear Factory. But they
Okay.
have they have a song called Fear Campaign.
Oh, that
And
sounds
it starts off like this. I'm gonna play a little snippet of it.
okay.
Can you hear it?
No. Yeah, it's breaking up. Okay, just tell me
Did you
the
hear it at
words.
all? Okay, so
No.
it basically just the intro is it's a guy saying fear. The mind is fear. And the lyrics are unbelievable because it talks about everything that this planet uses as a weapon,
Yeah.
fear turned into a weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to find the lyrics. Here it is. Okay, so I will just read the chorus,
Okay.
and it says fears of war and pestilence, fear of loss and failure,
Yep.
fear the hate of your enemy, fear your God and Savior,
Right.
failure. What do you fear? Right? And
Yeah.
that's another thing. I don't fully put stock in the Bible because it's constantly telling you to fear God. Why would I want to fear God?
See, yeah, and
That's fear itself.
well, I think that's a little
And
misunderstood.
I don't believe in a literal a literal hell or a conscious hell. It's I guess I don't know, man. It's possible,
Right.
but I think the hell concept comes from the Catholic Church, which is part of the beast system. It's part of the
It
Antichrist
is part of
system.
the beast system. But I think, and this is just my take, and of course, as you know, I could be very wrong about a lot of things. But I think hell is more of what you do to yourself, and more negative thoughts, and the what we put ourselves through. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
We can create heaven or hell here, right?
Right.
The
And
realm that we're living in is like the middle ground of heaven and hell. It's what you
right,
make of it.
right. And
Like I could be in poverty and I'd still fucking be happy.
right, exactly. That's exactly right. But the part, you know, where it says like fear God, and I do not know the Bible well. I'm going to admit that I don't, because that's not kind of, I operate more on a spiritual level.
I
Um
like that.
but when it says fear God, I don't believe it's saying as in fear God, as in be afraid of him. I believe what it's saying is, you know, if you should be fearful if you're not, you know, like obeying, as in obey, not, you know what I'm trying to say, like as in living right, thinking right, doing right by yourself and other people, if that makes sense. And so that's
It does
why,
make sense, but at the same time, it's like, why should I fear that anyway? Right?
well,
If I
it's just that,
mistreat somebody by mistake, I shouldn't
right.
fear it. I should just keep
No,
going.
no. And but
You
that's
know?
why, we get a daily reprieve as well though. And that's why we get when we wake up, we get another chance to do it better if,
Sure.
if we're able to be aware that, hey, I made some mistakes yesterday, so I'm grateful that I get to wake up and try to do a little bit better today. We get a daily reprieve, and that's the whole thing of seeking salvation daily. But anyways, that's why I want you to read the Emmett Fox, because it explains all this really well, so that it's not like it tells you what things in the Bible mean. So, and I'm terrible at explaining shit. So if I'm sitting there trying to explain to you the fear God thing that Emmett Fox talks about, I'm like, no, I'll fail. I'm shit at that. So I can't do it. So read the damn book, because then you'll be like, oh my God, Aaron, I know what you're talking about now. But it also, the Bible is full of parables as well. And
Sure.
and people, yeah, and people don't understand that. And they're just like, oh my God. And I'm just like, holy shit, never mind. Just forget it. I don't explain things. I don't try to explain things because I'm terrible at explaining them. I just tell people, just go get the book. It's on, if you go on thrift books, just download the thrift books app. I swear to God, it's like $3 on thrift books for Emmett Fox Make Your Life Worthwhile book. And I'm telling you, it'll make your life worthwhile. It's worth it, because even if it doesn't, be like, I don't fucking believe in God. I'm like, okay, I don't really give a shit. That's on you. But it still is uplifting, and it still is
Sure.
just like making you want to do better or think better or be nicer to somebody else. You know what I mean? It puts me in a good mood, because
What
I'm like,
is
oh my
so
God,
fucking like, Aaron, what is so wrong with treating people like how you want to be treated?
because people have fucking lost
I
their
don't get
minds
it.
right now. I personally think everybody's being fucking MK Ultra'd. I think that there's a massive brainwashing going on, and I think people have lost their ability to think, and a lot of people have literally lost their minds. And you don't say, like, it's not this, see, I'm shit at explaining stuff, because it's not like a something you just would notice. It's just that you start seeing behaviors that you're like, we did not see this shit 20 years ago. When you're driving in traffic, did you see as many assholes as you see now? And they're mean. They won't let you over. They won't let you fucking merge.
Oh, they
They,
honk. Now I see people honking at pedestrians.
right. It's just like,
Like,
what is
dude, did you
going
not fucking know
on?
pedestrians have the right of way? I don't give a fuck where you gotta be in five
Right.
minutes. You wait for that person to cross the fucking street.
Right, but it's like people are driving like 100 miles an hour, and like they're literally getting a car or two ahead and putting everybody's lives in danger over being in front. I mean, it just, have you ever seen stuff like this though 20 years ago? No. You know, because things have changed and our minds have changed, and thankfully a lot of us didn't fall for the brainwashing bullshit, and we were able to escape. I know it sounds so cliche, but escape that matrix. And
Right.
now we're watching everybody else go through it, and we're all like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
The
what,
fuck is wrong with
like
you?
what is going on? Wake up,
You know what the
and
worst thing is too? Watching fucking people alone in their car, completely
mhm.
oblivious to their surroundings because they have a fucking mask on and they're
Oh God,
inhaling their
yeah,
own fucking carbon dioxide and like,
yeah,
duh,
yeah.
you shouldn't be fucking driving with a mask on should be fucking illegal.
It really should, and I think they're starting to actually make it illegal in some states because it is so dangerous. But it's funny you say that, because people got so mad at me when I refused to wear a mask. I'm like, I'm not
Me
doing it.
too.
I'm not doing it. And they're like, well, you can't shop here. I'm like, okay, like, no big fucking deal. I'll go somewhere else, and I just walk out. I'm like, I'm not doing it. And so I mean, I did. I lost some friends over this, because I was just like, and especially Christian friends. because they were just like, "Oh my god, blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "Dude, you're literally sitting there saying, 'Oh my god,' and then you're putting a mask on. So either you believe or you don't, okay?
Right,
Because
right.
if you believe that you've got a savior that's all high and mighty and all this stuff, you don't think that he designed you well enough?
Right.
Like, your immune system's not good enough, like, he doesn't know what he's doing when he designed you?
Well, haven't you seen all the people dropping dead on the streets, Aaron?
Well, of course, I mean,
Like,
yeah.
I told somebody at work the other day, I said, they were like, "What do you think about monkeypox?" "Oh, the K is silent." And they're like, "Oh, that's a good one." And I said, until I start seeing people dropping dead on the fucking street in front of me, I will not comply with any of this shit. And
Well,
even
even
if I
if I
do, I
yeah.
still won't.
No, I was gonna say, even if am watching him drop dead, I'm gonna be like, "Well, this is gonna suck, but hey, we all gotta go, and if that's the way we're gonna go, then so be it." But I am not yeah, sorry.
Have you ever seen or read Stephen King's The Stand?
Yes.
Okay.
A long time ago, though,
Finally,
mind
here's
you.
somebody that actually has. Okay. But you know the whole
Yes.
concept where
Yes.
the global pandemic wiped out like
Yes.
90% of the population, Earth's
Yes.
population. And
Yeah.
then the good people are having a vision of a messiah, a black lady in a cornfield playing guitar.
Right.
And the bad people are being attracted by the Antichrist figure, who is a
Of
shape
course.
shifting fucking evil guy
Right.
trying to gather people to Vegas. So the
Yeah.
good people go to the messiah, the bad people, and then there's a huge clash of good and evil at the end. I think
Yeah.
that was a fucking brilliant concept.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I've actually just started watching it again, and of course I've not gotten very far because I went out of
The
town again.
newer one,
Oh, I haven't seen that. Mm-mm.
there's a newer series that came out on Prime.
Nice. I'll watch
Yeah,
that when I get home. And you know what's so funny is just like going into some more conspiracy. They have to tell us everything in movies, or not necessarily movies, but they have to tell us before they can do anything. It's part of their
that's the
religion.
revelation of the method kind of thing. Yeah.
It's part of their religion. Like,
Hmm.
they have to, but if we don't say anything and say no, then that's our consent.
We're
We don't,
complying. Yeah.
and of course, you're going to watch a movie and they're making it about whatever they're making it about, and so you don't think to go no. So whenever I like watch a movie or anything, I always like say a prayer of like, put some protection over me. I do not give you my consent. Just because I'm watching this movie doesn't mean that you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want.
Sure.
And so I put that hedge of protection on me,
That's
and
that's that's automatic for me.
right.
Prayer is automatic for me. It's we are as human beings praying
Yeah.
without ceasing, as the Bible says, because
Yeah.
we just being aware of everything that's
Yeah.
going on. I I I'm of the mind that the creator has been hijacked through the Bible. I don't believe in Yahweh. I believe he's the Jew God, and we're not supposed to be a part of that.
Yeah.
They
Well, not.
took the Enki and Enlil, the gods of Samaria. One of them was good, one of them was bad, and the good one did his own thing, while the bad one hijacked the creator's name and created this Jew God religion, and that's why the Jews are trying to take over the world, all that shit. So I don't give God a name. I don't use Jesus.
Right.
I don't use Yahweh. I don't use Yahshua, Yahushua, any of that. I just say Creator
Right.
that created me.
Yeah,
And I
and
think
that's
that's
the
what Jesus was trying to tell us, but
right.
they fucking manipulated it so well that it's all about, oh, it's okay, even though you're not Jewish, or those who say they are Jews but are not. It's all the same fucking people controlling and manipulating. They started this whole thing.
Now that I do know to be true. And I'm not sure about the whole thing, whatever, because I don't know much about that. Like, I'll be the first to admit I
You're
don't know
just
much about
going
it.
off of your spiritual instinct.
Well, that yeah, that I do know. You know what I mean? And but as far as like history and looking into that, and I agree with you. I think there's a lot of things that have been skewed, and I think there's so many lies that you really don't know what is or isn't true. Obviously there's a creator, because there's just no way like we would be made the way we are. It's
Right.
just, it's a beautiful, we're beautiful.
Perfect.
And I say machine because we're not machines, but you know what I mean, like just inside and out, man. Like, wow, that's pretty fucking impressive.
Perfect, but corrupted at the same
Well,
time because of the
and yeah, and
DNA
that's,
manipulation,
yeah.
pharmaceuticals, all that shit. You know.
Right, but they've managed to do that over thousands of years. It's not an overnight thing. And if people think that this is, oh, it's just over the last 50 or 100 years, I'm like, no. this has been a battle for a while, and I don't know if we're like coming into it or just coming out of it or what the fuck is going on, but I know that I'm like, damn, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
What the fuck
I
is
thought about this the other. I thought about it frequently, but I thought about this yesterday,
mm,
a couple days ago. Uh, People would always ask me the question, "What time period would you have loved to have been alive in?" And I said,
oh, yeah,
"This
good
one, right
question.
now. This one.
Yeah.
I'm fine
Yeah.
now."
Yeah. It's very interesting because where where was I? Oh my God, I'm trying to remember. I think I was in Colorado, but we went to some cabin or something. Anyways, it was pretty primitive, and I was just like, and we've been riding all day, and I was starting to sweat and stink and all this stuff, and I was just like, I need to wash my hands, I need to use the bathroom. And I'm like, we're like 20 miles into the mountains, not gonna happen. You're doing things the old way. And of course, so that whole day I was just like, God, could you imagine though being in a wagon with these freaking primitive ass wheels, and you're going over this terrain that we could barely do in a freaking razor that's built for that shit.
Yeah, but it was normal.
I know. And I
So
was
you
just
wouldn't think
like,
it would be, you know, anything out of the ordinary.
no, but oh, sorry. But it would
If
be,
you if
that
you
would,
time traveled, then you'd be like, "Fuck this,"
oh my
right?
God. I'll be the first to admit that I'm when the grid goes down, I'm gonna be the biggest fucking baby. I'm gonna be like, oh my God.
Honestly, I probably will be too. As much as I can say I'm fucking mentally prepared for it, I'm not.
Well, and that's the thing though, is like, and
There's
that's,
no fucking beer anymore. What the fuck?
yeah, no, well, you can make your own deer, okay?
That's
Uh,
true. We'd figure it
yeah,
out.
and and I will though. I will be a little bitch for probably the first week, and I'll just be like, "Oh my God!" And that's of course if we all live, because it's gonna be total pandemonium and chaos and destruction and all this shit. But I will cry. I will cry because I'm just like, oh damn,
It'd
you
be
don't
rough.
realize
It's gonna be
how,
rough.
totally. But at the same
I
time,
think we have the upper hand of being elevated consciousness though.
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say though, is
Because
like,
we've kind of been expecting it for a while, right?
well, that in our generation has the mental fortitude to, we've been through a lot as it is, and then
Right.
anybody who's been through this last 8 years who is awake, like, that's fucking trauma, dude. That's some serious trauma, especially watching your loved ones just not get it and hurt themselves through these, vaccinations, through thinking that they're doing the right thing.
Right.
And it's that's probably the most painful thing I've ever been through in my life, you know?
My dad has admittedly said ever since I took those two shots, my health has deteriorated. He hasn't been the
Jeez.
same, and I've seen it. I've had to put him in the
Right.
hospital three fucking times.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude, it's like, if
I
that's
never
not,
took one. I told him from the very
no.
fucking beginning, and I was
Yeah.
sending him all this information.
I
And he
know.
comes home. He comes home one day. He's like, "Guess what I did today?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I got the shot." I'm like, "Why?" I
Uh,
was so fucking mad.
oh my
I said,
God.
"After all the shit that I showed," he's like, "Well, if I want to visit your mom in the home, I have to do it." I'm like, No, you
No, you
don't.
don't. No, you don't. No. And that's what made me so mad, and this is
People being fucking manipulated. That's what made me
but
mad.
how dare these people do that to families, to individuals, to take away my medical anatom what is it? Anatom I can I
Bodily
never
autonomy.
thank you. I can never say that damn word. But to take away my choice, um, yeah, that's like flat out communism. I don't give a shit what you say. And then to sit there and think that you're so right about it. And I'm like, but what on what medical grounds? And then they think they're rattling off all this shit. And I'm like, that's not true. Well, I'm the medical professional. And I'm like, dude, I don't have a degree, but I can literally tell you that you're wrong. You know what I mean? And it's like, so for you to sit there and say, I didn't know or this or that, I'm like, no, no, I'm not. You can't get off that easy. And then to sit there, I had to go to the hospital one time because I'm highly allergic to a certain medication and I accidentally got given it. So I had to go to the hospital, and the way that that woman treated me, I s- I wish I could go back and be like, you owe me an apology and you better give it to me, and I just hope that these people start getting sued. Every one of them. Every one of them. And
Sue
I
the
don't give a
fucking
shit.
pants off of them.
And I don't give a shit if you were just the triage intake person. Don't give a fuck. Made me put this mask on when I literally cannot wear a mask because of the stomach diseases that I have. And even so, it doesn't matter if I said no, that should be enough, you
It's
know?
called integrity,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And people don't
uh
have integrity anymore. Even in the
no.
podcasting community, let me tell you this story. There's another podcast out there, and they're pretty big. And I had a friend who was on their show, so I was like, I'm gonna give this a listen.
Right,
And because she was on it.
right.
And first thing that fucking pops up when I play the podcast is an ad for Disney. And these guys speak out against Disney and pedophilia and all that
Oh
shit.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Mm.
I just put a simple comment in on their episode and was like, "Oh, um, I said you lost me at the Disney ad, guys, right?
Right. Hmm.
Just a kind of a joke, but a little bit
Right.
of a jab at the same time,
Right.
right?
Right.
At the
Right.
integrity." And they decided to, on their next episode, berate me without mentioning my name for 15 fucking minutes,
Oh my God.
saying how this is how we put food on the table, and I'm so angry at this guy now. We were good to him in the past. Blah, 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 blah. I was like,
Oh.
wow. Well, I'm not gonna fucking apologize, and I'm not going to really talk about it. I'm not gonna retort.
Right.
If
Right.
you wanted to waste 15 minutes of your time on my little
Right.
ass, that's on
Right.
you, man.
Right. God, that's so yeah, that's crazy.
And it's like, dude, if I had ads on my podcast, which I don't think, um, I would really look into which ads were
Right.
being put in. And I would be like, no, get this shit off of my fucking show.
Right. Well, right, right. Especially something like that. I mean, that's like
Profit is not greater than integrity. I'm sorry. I
no,
don't care how much of a fucking what business that you're running.
and that's a big, big problem in this country. And that's one of the reasons that we are where we are, is because people put profit over people. And
Yeah.
it's just it's sick. It's a sick mentality. Well, this whole country has got a soul sickness beyond what I've ever seen. And until we can fix that, this soul sickness is just seeping into just every nook and cranny of the society. And
Mm-hmm.
we got to find our way out of it, though. And we got to find our way out pretty quickly because, I think that these fools feel like they are running out of time. And I think they're just ramping shit up. And November to me is like, I'm like, I don't. I'm just gonna like batten down the hatches and just be like, y'all got to do what you got to do. Like, but
Right, right.
you know, I will vote because I just still think that that is, it might not matter per se, but I think it kind of does. And only because, it's like one of those tantrums that I'm going to have. You know, I'm still going to throw my tantrum, even though I know it's probably not going to go how I want because the outcome is pre-designed. Whatever. I'm still going to do what I feel like I should do. Because if I don't, then 20 other people, you know what I mean? So I'm still just going to do it even though it might not matter, but in good conscience, I'm going to pray for this country and pray that it is going to matter. And
And
that
that your vote actually does matter, even though it
and
might
because
not.
God can do anything. Well,
Sure.
just like we were saying, the
Oh, I
power of
get it. I
prayer.
get it. I
Yeah,
don't vote,
whether yeah,
but
whether
I don't
you
tell
call it God
people
or
what to
not,
do.
whatever. Mm.
I don't tell people what to do. I don't tell people don't vote. I don't tell people
Oh
go vote.
hell no, hell no.
I just don't vote because I don't believe in voting for the lesser or greater of two evils.
Well,
If you're
and that's
voting for evil regardless,
well,
that's my
and
stance on
that's true,
it.
but that's why I had to add that in there because the power of prayer can change anything, you know. And so, what if we
You got
do
your vote
that?
here and you're about to drop it in the ballot. You're like, please make this matter. Thank you.
But make it matter in the right way to help
Sure.
the people of this world, not just our country, the world. And so I'm going to do my part and pray that it is going to do something to help everybody, not just me, not just you, but everybody, because this whole world is fucked up and it's not fair. And we're not living the way we're supposed to live, and it's not fair because it doesn't have to be this way. That's what pisses me off. Is it does not have to be like this.
No, it does not.
I know. I'm getting all serious. Like I got my
I
serious
know.
face on. I know.
We,
Oh yeah,
I
you want to go
think,
to bed? Oh, okay. Yeah,
I was
I'm
gonna
gonna have
say that's probably a good note to end off on because I took over your hour. So
You're like, get the fuck off. You're being too
no, no,
serious.
no, no. I could go on forever.
I know, I'm joking. Yeah, because that was fun. And I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope I wasn't too serious. I wasn't
I
trying to be.
totally enjoyed it. What are you talking about?
Awesome. Yay! Yeah, because I wasn't trying to be too serious. I was just trying
We
to
had like
be
almost no fucking
informational.
paranormal shit, which is what I wanted to talk about. And I even wore my poltergeist shirt just for you.
Oh, that's freaking awesome, dude.
But
Well,
maybe
you're
we'll
gonna
do
come
that
on
on
my
your
show.
show. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll do that on
I
your
was gonna
show.
say you're gonna come on my show anyway, so we'll do it there. But yeah, and next time we will. But you know for a fact that we'll still talk our shit. So whatever.
Absolutely. Keep in touch. And it
Dave,
was
thank you.
a
I
pleasure
loved
to have
it.
you on.
I
And
can't wait to come back on.
I'll put your links in the show notes, all that shit. So you have a good
Thank
night.
you. All
Enjoy
right,
the
my
rest of
dear.
your
I will.
holiday, and God bless you.
Oh, you too, honey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
sugar. Bye.